Well, my name is Randy Wheeler, and I have a company. It's called Wheeler Coaching Systems, and I'm going to talk to you about a subject that I think is very exciting, and that's the idea of leadership and how everybody in this room is a leader. But real quick, just to share with you, I'm a member of the John Maxwell team. I don't know if you've heard of the guy. Anybody ever heard of John Maxwell? So he's been named #1 leadership expert by Inc. magazine. I'm an independently certified speaker, trainer, and coach with the John Maxwell team. He's written like 100 books on leadership and like literally almost 100 books on leadership, and is asked by countries to come in and help transform their countries, like the leaders of the countries. And these guys on the bottom are my mentors. That I can talk to at any time during the week. I won't go into that. Just wanted you to know a little bit about that. So I got a question for you. How many of you, by show of hands, how many of you think you're a leader? Okay. Now here's my second question. How many of you interact with anybody? Unless you're stuffing your face and you have no ability, every hand should be up, or we better call the morgue and haul you out of here. Because we're always interacting. I even count virtual interaction as an interaction. So because all of us interact with somebody, I'm going to suggest that every one of us in this room is a leader. Because at the end of the day, leadership is influence. For example, Mr. Enos, you just led me because I have no clue about Python, about web scraping, but I need somebody to show me something about it, and you just led me in that. And anybody in this room, yeah, go ahead, give him a hand for leading me. And I felt bad for you that you had to stand up here for like 5 minutes while he was doing the announcements. But but we are all influencing people all the time. Whether it's at the grocery store, if you actually still go up and visit a human being and not just do the quick scan checkout with like a whole pile of groceries. And we talk, if we talk to them and we actually interact, we're influencing, leading in a positive way. If not, if we're just kind of stuck in our own world, or we're just like, we're leading in a negative way. So we're always influencing. Now I have another thing for you. Everybody stand up. If you're eating, you can stay seated. Otherwise, you'll probably it just won't work. Take your your right hand, put it on top of your head. Take your left hand, put it on your belt line. Okay, pat your head over your belly. I just like to see if people can do that. No, that's not really what I wanted you to do. Okay, take this this bottom hand, raise it to the level of which you think your leadership ability is. So this is a 10 on top of my head. This is a 0 at my waistline. Raise it to whatever level you feel your leadership ability is. You can't go down, not negative. All of you are at least a 1. Okay, now take this top hand, bring it back to your waistline. Now try to bring it up and break it through your new top hand. Try to do it again. Now, as hard as you can this time. 1, 2, 3. Quit cheating, you guys over here. I saw you cheating. Okay, what that sound is you hitting your lid. Go ahead and sit down. John Maxwell says it this way. He says, leadership ability determines a person's level of effectiveness. Leadership ability determines a person's level of effectiveness. I don't have time to go into the different types of leadership, like self-leadership and pure leadership, leading up, leading down. But real simply, the hardest person in the room to lead is this guy. So here's the thing. Let me illustrate. Anybody know the story of McDonald's? Anybody familiar with the McDonald's story? Maybe you watched the movie and learned a little that way. So the McDonald's brothers, 2 brothers, named the McDonald's brothers, They started off, they wanted to be successful business people, so they opened a movie theater, and it bombed. And then they said, okay, we're gonna do the drive-in restaurant thing, kind of like Sonic here or In-N-Out out in California, and it was going well. But then they got this idea, hey, let's create a system where we have a small menu, like burgers, which is what everybody ate here tonight, Is that all that's on their menu? It smells good. I might take one of your onion rings. That looks pretty good. So they created a system with a small menu that they could make the food fast. People come up, get the food, walk away. What we know as fast food today. And this started to explode. It exploded to people were calling in the California area. They wanted to learn more, and they were starting to kind of sort of franchise. And then this milkshake salesman guy comes in, and he's like, why do they want 8 milkshake machine mixers? And he starts to learn about what they're doing. And this guy, Ray Kroc, takes McDonald's to what we know it as today. You see, the McDonald's brothers, they were at, let's say, a 4. So the organization could only go that high. Ray Kroc was at an 8. So he could take it to that higher level, to what we know it as today. So okay, you got that. Let me give you a visual of it. How many of you work on a team? Okay, how many of you work on a team where you're in a position of leadership? Okay, I just wanted to kind of get an idea. So here's the idea. Like, I used to work and function as a strength and conditioning coach. I'd go into, and when I first start, we'd have some success, but it's me and 100 people in a room, running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to get them to understand what to do and how to do it. Okay, kind of like on a team or that you lead or with a group. If one person's trying to do everything, you're not very effective. But then, over time, the individuals, the players, the coaches, some of the coaches would help out, and so we'd raise our effectiveness because it wasn't just me and 100. It'd be like 5, 10, 20, whatever, and we're raising our effectiveness. The success stayed high, but we became more effective because I was learning how to lead and not just do everything myself. Okay, we got the concept. We get the idea of the law of the lid. I might have beat it like a dead horse, so I'm not sure. But let me clarify. I don't want you to confuse the lid with a limit to your potential. Okay, pretend we're all lamps, okay? We're all lamps. We have unlimited potential. It's like the outlet. There's the energy in the outlet, but we all draw a little bit different output. Some of us are bright light bulbs. Some of us are not so bright light bulbs. But then we try a new idea. So say you're programming. Just forgive me if my illustrations fall short. Remember, I'm ignorant. But you're programming, you're getting frustrated. You feel like you're stuck, but then you try something new. All of a sudden, you tapped into more of your potential. You raised your self-leadership lid. Or you're trying something with people that you're leading, and you raise that leadership lid. Okay? The potential isn't the limiting factor. Our leadership ability is what limits us. So when I first heard this, I'm like, okay, I get this. And maybe you're like that too. You're like, okay, I get it. Could you please move on? But I can't move on without giving you some ideas of how to raise your leadership lid. So first of all, it's a process of getting uncomfortable. Anybody set a New Year's resolution, I want to lose weight or anything, ever in their life? Okay, maybe you guys are all good. Okay, good. I like that. I like that you're securing that. Or maybe you had some goal. Maybe you try. Anybody ever work out one time in their life and then they said, I'm done? I got one guy. So it's uncomfortable, right? The first day you go, you run, you maybe lift some weights, you're feeling good, and then you go to bed that night, and then you wake up, and you're like, what just hit me? You fall out of bed, you crawl back to the gym, and you do it again a little slower, and you keep going through it, and eventually you see some results. Things that were big get small, things that you wanted tighter are getting tighter. It's a process of getting uncomfortable. So whether it's leading another person or leading yourself, we have to get out of our comfort zone. Like, I would be way out of my comfort zone just sitting in front of the computer, you trying to teach me one thing, but I'd be raising my lid. I'd be able to help somebody else that's at ground zero. Like this says what? I am a Python dummy. I don't know. I guess that's how I fill it in. So here's a second idea. The curriculum is life. So there, fill in the beginning of this. Blank is the best teacher. Go ahead. Experience. Now John, when the first time I heard John say this, he said evaluated experience. Let me illustrate. We get milk, like raw milk. And one morning I'd come back from the gym and I get home and my wife is frustrated and like a great husband, I actually didn't do anything and try to fix it for once in my life. Instead, I listened a little, went upstairs, got ready for the day, I come back down, and she's like, because she was upset because she left the milk in the van all night. And that's not cheap milk. And then I come down, she's like, I figured it out. I'm like, oh, okay, what happened? She's like, Kyle wasn't with me. Kyle's our youngest son. I have 3 sons, 13, 11, and 8. And she's like, Kyle wasn't with me, and he always reminds me to put the milk in the refrigerator because the milk's behind the driver's seat, and Kyle would be back there, and he gets excited to put it away. So we learned, make sure Kyle goes with her when she goes and gets the milk. You see, what she could have gotten frustrated with the experience, but she evaluated and then learned. So that's how we learn and how we grow. Now next is awareness and willingness to grow. We have to have an awareness and a willingness to grow. If I don't have any willingness to learn anything about pi, I'm obviously not going to learn anything about pi. It starts with us being willing and desiring to improve as leaders. So that if we grow as leaders individually, we're going to be able to impact and influence those around us more effectively. And a way that you can do that is getting around people who think differently. I mean, right here, for what you do, you're growing as leaders in this field because you learn from each other. Just that first part, I've never been here, but and I think it's Keith over here, or did I say, am I getting old and blind? Yeah, Keith asked a question because he heard new ideas, and he's learning and growing. I'll go into an organization. We'll work through John's book, for example, Developing the Leader Within You 2.0. Different leaders, different responsibilities, different perspectives. Read a couple chapters. I ask them questions to help them think into it. How are you going to apply it? And then after they apply, they make their own action step. The next time I'm like, okay, how'd you do? Hold them accountable. It creates an environment where they're learning from one another and learning how to grow and develop. So I didn't give you a whole lot of information because I have this one thing I want you to do. Pull out your whatever electronic device you want. Because normally I do this with just old school, pen and paper. I want you to answer this question, whether it's in your notes, whether it's a reminder, whatever it is. What's one way that you can raise your leadership lid within the next 24 to 48 hours? A way that you can get uncomfortable, a way that you can surround yourself with different people. What's one way, whether it's got to do with what you do with your professional work or with leading people? Okay, put it down there. And if there's somebody in this room that you have a relationship with that you feel comfortable doing this, tell somebody else before you leave tonight what your action step is so they have permission to hold you accountable to it. Yeah. Accountability, that's how we grow. So I just thank you. I hope my goal was very simple, to give you a concept and to give you something practical to apply. I'm curious what that is. You made her laugh. Are you going to share? Do my taxes. Do your taxes. That would be important. I'm gonna be around if you have any questions for me or want to find out how to do more and how I can come alongside you or your organization to help you lead. Let me know.